I just have one. Speaking of cutting it off, as a person who edits for full time for a living, I am floored that they only cut 8 feet of film off of this movie, which is like 5 seconds of footage. I cannot believe that. That's insane to me that happened in the day of like films. That's insane to me. But I mean, again, if that's true, even if that's like stretched or something like that, but I think again, it just speaks to Hitchcock knowing his craft, knowing what he wants and getting it and getting out. So that's amazing to me. I was blown away when I saw that.
I did not know that.
I'm glad you're touching on the editing, because I did want to hit on that a second, and just to let people think about how movies used to be edited, which was literally they get into the bay and they've got all of their film reels that they've shot and developed, and then they're literally cutting and splicing film together. And Hitchcock and his editors, they do it. It's so frame perfect.
Yeah,
it is incredible.
Oh yeah,
the shot where he's got the camera outside the train, and it just pans in, and then all of a sudden, he's inside the train now, and he's looking at the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Holy crap! Bonkers stuff. And they're doing it. They're literally cutting it out and putting it together and running it through. If you want to go off, you guys, you already know this, but anyone who's interested to look at old film editing bays, they're nuts. Just go Google a picture or YouTube how you edit actual film. It's really impressive to see this movie and think about that.
For sure.
We are very spoiled with Premiere and After Effects. And speaking of such, even the opening titles, the way that they're sort of overlaid on the building and they look like they're on the building. That's
Saul
an
Bass,
effect.
baby.
Yeah, Saul Bass. And that's something that, like, once we got the ability to do that in After Effects, that's something that Ben and I personally abused quite a bit in our editing, making real estate videos. And I just was like, to see that from a movie in 1959, when it's something that I literally didn't know how to do until 2012 or whatever. Like, I don't know. I was super impressed by that, super blown away. I don't know why it surprised me necessarily, but yeah, the editing in this, the fact that if that's true, Ben, that's incredible.
It's nuts. And we can put this all in the Patreon exclusive, so it doesn't extend the episode too much.
No, it's fine.
When Matt talked about like what we want the pod to be when we were in the infant stages of 3 films on a podcast, this was the one thing that I referenced. I'm like, I love the opening credits from North by Northwest. I couldn't have called Saul Bass by name. I didn't know it that well. I just knew that I loved exactly what you were just talking about. And then in watching it here, I was like, man, like, how did they do that? Like, is he drawing it that way on there, or like, because now we just have basic 3D and you can rotate and do all that stuff. And like, I feel like he had to like try and just kind of lay over it. And then the way once the opening credits are done and we're left with that grid, and then it goes to the movie itself and the grid is like perfectly matched. Like, oh my God, it's so good. Their duo was perfect. The Saul Bass Hitchcock. It was wonderful.